A free agent now. Would you ever consider playing for the Saints and making us great again? Because, you know.
Free agent quarterback Aaron Rodgers just dissed and threw some shade at the New Orleans Saints and very quickly shut down the idea of him signing with the team. The 40-year-old quarterback was doing some sort of Q&A event or a podcast or whatever the hell it was that he was doing, and he was asked about whether or not he would want to sign with the New Orleans Saints, and he had a very quick answer to that question. My name's Cash, and before we dive into the Aaron Rodgers and the Saints drama, I'd appreciate it if you would take 5 seconds to subscribe. We're super close to 10K. Help support the channel and stay up to date with all Saints and NFL content we'll be posting here on the daily. Like the video and let's see what Aaron Rodgers had to say. So there's a clip right now on social media that is going viral of Aaron Rodgers talking about whether or not he would sign with the Saints after a fan asked him if he would be interested in signing with the Saints, as he's currently a free agent and the Saints quarterback situation is kind of up in the air right now, and he shut this idea down immediately. Here's the clip right here.
A free agent now. Would you ever consider playing for the Saints and making us great again? Because, you know.
No.
How could he make us great again if he's 41 and he would only play for like a year?
No.
Very quickly said no. He very obviously did not want to play for the Saints.
That's the answer.
That's the answer.
All right, next question.
No, I've played there a couple times, but
And lost to the GOAT, Drew Brees.
no. The answer is no. I'm too old. I don't want to live in Louisiana.
Is it the heat? Does he not like Louisiana? The humidity? I don't really know. But very quickly said no. I think he said no 2 or 3 times. Said he didn't want to live in Louisiana. And that's Aaron Rodgers throwing some shade at the Saints, not wanting to join the team.
Sorry.
And then he apologizes, but he's not sorry. Well, Aaron Rodgers, the feelings are mutual because we don't want you, you old fart. We don't want a 41-year-old drama queen at quarterback. We just had a 33-year-old drama queen at quarterback in Derek Carr. From a fan perspective, we don't want you, and from the sounds of it and how it seems the New Orleans Saints team itself in the front office and the coaching staff doesn't want Aaron Rodgers either. Jeff Duncan said right here that there's not a surprise, but Aaron Rodgers never really was a consideration for the New Orleans Saints in the wake of the Derek Carr retirement, meaning the Saints were never interested, never really had a thought about reaching out to Aaron Rodgers, didn't really consider him as an option when he was retiring or when he had this injury, and at their current stages, they don't make sense for him and he doesn't make sense for them. 100% agree with that. It makes sense why both sides would not be interested in each other. Aaron Rodgers has who knows how many years left in the NFL and how long he's going to continue to play this game of, oh, I'm going to retire, I'm not going to retire, but he's nearing the end of his career, that's for sure. And given where he's at in his career, he wants to win football games and possibly make a Super Bowl. The Saints right now are not the spot to be doing that, especially if you're at the tail end of your career. And if you're the New Orleans Saints, you're trying to rebuild, get younger, clean up the cap space, develop these young quarterbacks. You just drafted Tyler Shuck, you have Spencer Rattler, you have Jake Keener and Hunter Deckers, who are both very young quarterbacks. You're trying to develop them and rebuild. Signing a 40-year-old quarterback in Aaron Rodgers doesn't align with those plans. And I'm curious too if Aaron Rodgers reached out to the Saints and the Saints weren't interested in him and now he's saying that he doesn't want to go there. I'm assuming he wouldn't want to go there regardless. I'm just kind of reaching right here. I'm just yapping at this point, but it was just a guess. Some people even thought that after the surprise retirement of Derek Carr just a few weeks ago that maybe the team would reach out to Aaron Rodgers and try to fill that void of having a veteran quarterback and a starting quarterback in the NFL who has experience. Especially after Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show recently and said that he would sign with the team for $10 million and that he didn't really care too much about the money. $10 million bucks, that's a price that the Saints could pay for a quarterback that kind of fits with their plans, and if they really wanted a veteran quarterback and really wanted to go that route, they could. But using common sense here, it didn't make sense for either side to want to sign with each other or want to basically team up. There have been talks though, however, of whether or not the Saints should add or sign a veteran quarterback to help these younger guys develop, but not necessarily to start, just to help with the young quarterbacks, help learn the NFL, and help get up to speed within the NFL. Tyler Shuck is a rookie turning 26 years old, but he doesn't have any experience in the NFL, and I'm sure a veteran could help him. Spencer Rattler has the most starting experience in the NFL in the Saints quarterback room, but he's only started 6 games, 6.5 if you include the second half versus the Washington Commanders. Hunter Deckers is an undrafted rookie quarterback, so there's no experience there. Who knows if he'll even make the team. And Jake Haener is in his 3rd season. He only has 1 start. He's 26 years old. There is no experience really at all in this quarterback room, and I think having a veteran quarterback could be very helpful, and it is a valid question of whether or not the team should add one. There is not a lot of experience between these guys in the quarterback room, and that could be both a good and a bad thing in terms of developing, but also in terms of learning the NFL. Kellen Moore, before OTAs, said that he feels good about the young quarterback room, and he believes the coaching experience should make up for the lack of playing experience. So the Saints, technically you could say, have 3 veteran quarterbacks on their coaching staff. Kellen Moore is a former quarterback, but he's the head coach. He can't have his primary focus be the quarterbacks. He has a whole team to manage. Doug Nussmeier is a former quarterback. He played for the Saints. That's the offensive coordinator. He's like a veteran, but he also has some other things to take care of. He's the OC. He also has to focus on the running backs and the receivers and the tight ends and the offensive line. And then their quarterback coach, Scott Tolzien, is a former NFL quarterback. So they do have 3 former quarterbacks on the staff who could act like veteran quarterbacks. But it's a little bit different when one is your coach or one is your boss and another one is a co-worker or a peer as in a veteran quarterback. And given that they're in a quarterback competition, if one young guy doesn't know what's going on, they're not going to ask another guy what's going on because, well, that's just a bad look. And given the fact now that we know that Jake Haener is dealing with an oblique injury that will keep him out until training camp, a lot of us were curious if this would open up an opportunity to sign a veteran quarterback for camp, or at least OTAs. And Kellen Moore has been asked this multiple times. Literally every time this guy is having a press conference or an interview, there's always a question about whether or not they're going to add a veteran quarterback, and he said, we'll certainly have awareness to it. We're ready if the opportunity presents itself. Now, this is interesting. Is there a guy that they were looking at and they're trying to see if maybe his price goes down or if he becomes more available, if that opportunity presents itself, or is it just something that's just coach say and they're not really looking to add someone? I don't really think they're looking to add a veteran quarterback, and as it seems, even if they were, it would not be Aaron Rodgers. The way things have been going this basically whole offseason, it looks like Aaron Rodgers will be signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers at some point, I guess. It felt that way back in March, it felt that way in April, and it feels that way as we're about to be in June, even though he still hasn't made a decision or made anything official in terms of whether or not he'll be playing football. There's just a lot of nonsense and attention seeking from this dude, but maybe he made an agreement with the Steelers, a verbal agreement that he will sign with them just on his own timing. I'm glad he doesn't want to be on the Saints though, and I'm glad the Saints do not want him. It felt like maybe Mickey Loomis would try to sign him because, well, he's Mickey Loomis, but we just got done with Derek Carr, and we don't want to deal with Aaron Rodgers and his off-the-field stuff. We want to see the Saints focus on the future and not the now, and signing Aaron Rodgers would contradict building towards something in the future long-term and rebuilding. Even though we know that Aaron Rodgers is a future Hall of Fame player, he just doesn't align with the Saints right now, and even when you look at his level of play in 2024, it wasn't good. And it wasn't good enough to the point where you could tolerate the nonsense of his off-the-field stuff. Yes, I know he was on a bad Jets team with some bad coaching, but he also wanted Nathaniel Hackett to be his offensive coordinator, so that's on him. And guess what? If he did want to go to the Saints, the roster sucks too, so if he was to go to the Saints, he might have some struggles and difficulty having success. And I'm also pretty certain that a 37-year-old Kellen Moore doesn't want to deal with a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers as a starting quarterback in his first year as the team's head coach and his first year as a head coach in the NFL in general. He would much rather instead be developing and molding these young quarterbacks in the room right now, like Rattler and Shuck and Deckers, hopefully into good quarterbacks who can start in the NFL and will help the Saints get back to winning football games and being a good team. Rattler just killed it at OTAs. Tyler Shuck looked pretty good at OTAs. And I'm excited to see these young guys moving forward instead of Unk taking snaps at quarterback for the team. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to play for the Saints, and yes, he dissed the state of Louisiana, but guess what? Nobody in Louisiana wants him on the Saints either. Let me know down in the comments what you make of Aaron Rodgers' comments. Would you want the Saints to sign him? I'm assuming most of you are gonna say no. I appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, help support the channel, like the video, and stay up to date with more Saints and NFL content. My name's Kaj, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good one. Peace.